my channel. My name is Andy, also known as Mouse. There is quite a lot of you here all of a sudden, so thanks and welcome. If you are new here, I talk about books and book-related things. If you're not new here, then you know the drill, and this is my monthly wrap-up for October. Unlike the last 3 months where I read almost 50 books or over 50 books, I only read 34 books this month, so not as accomplished, but I'm kind of slowing things down. I have hit my 400 book goal for the year, which is a little bit crazy. And I did make the comment, you know, what if I read like 10 books one month? What would happen then? Unfortunately, my readathon starts in 2 days, so I can't do that, but I can think about it a lot. Maybe I'll do it in January. Anyway, so if you've never watched one of my wrap-ups before, because I read so many books, I generally just give you a lowdown of some of the books that I read, and I give you the statistics of those books. So we're going to start with the statistics, and then I will tell you my best book, my worst book, why, and then because of Alex, who is, I would consider us friends, we talk on Twitter all the time, and he commented the other day on my wrap-up from last month, I believe. I'll talk about my favorite arc of the month. Unfortunately, I would also talk about my least favorite arc of the month, but that happens to be my least favorite book of the month. So let's get going. Like I said before, I read 34 books this month. I have read 10,241 pages, and I listened to audiobooks for 103.5 hours. My average rating is a 4.3, and I read 4 Own Voices books. I think next year I'm probably going to discontinue using the Own Voices terminology for my tagging, just because of some of the controversy that's come out recently because of it. I read 1 contemporary book. If you guys know me, you know I don't like contemporary books. I read 10 fantasy books, 3 horror books, 4 nonfiction books, 4 sci-fi, and 4 thriller books. The graphic novels didn't get included in this statistic for some reason. Let's see. That's why. Let me fix that real quick and we can find out how many of those I read. There we go. I read 8 graphic novels this month. I listened to 11 audiobooks, I read 17 ebooks, and then 6 physical books. I am trying to knock out as many owned TBR before my readathon starts so that that list is a little bit lower. I've gotten pretty far. This month I read 18 adult novels, which is kind of unusual for me because I only read 15 young adult novels and 1 middle grade novel. Generally I read considerably more young adult than adult books, but I think I requested a lot of thriller arcs, and those are all adult, and so that would be why that number is a little bit different. I also read quite a bit more of adult graphic novels, so I read from 3 Asian authors, 2 Black authors, 2 Latinx authors, 14 white authors, and then 2 unknown authors, 18 cisgendered authors, 3 genderqueer authors, 1 transgendered author, and 1 unknown author. Generally I can get, not generally, this is on a month-to-month basis. I do have a breakdown of how many male to female to non-binary readers or authors that I've read, but those are as a whole year, and I will go over those at my end of the year wrap up, which I'm really excited to go over with you guys. So let's see. My favorite book this month was Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. I buddy read that with Elle or Art from Ink and Plasma, and also the Queer Book Club. Links down below. That's also my co-host for the readathon and my best friend. So we read the book together, reading a quarter of it a day. It is about these 3 witches. They are all sisters, and they're essentially taking down the patriarchy in New Salem, all in their own individual different ways. They're teaching witchcraft to women who are all witches. The concept is that everyone is all a witch in their own way, all women, and men. It's really, really interesting, and there's a bad guy who happens to also, I don't want to spoil it. There's a bad guy who just fucking sucks, and like you hope he dies the whole time, basically. And there's a character called Juniper, and she's feral and awful, and I love her with my whole entire heart. She's my favorite character in the whole series. There's also a librarian, and then like a mom friend, essentially, and they all represent the mother, the maiden, and the crone, which I thought was a really well done representation. There's also a sapphic character. One of the main characters is a sapphic character, which means that I am going to have to figure out what to do about my sapphic shelf because I am out of room, because Elle reminded me that Priory of the Orange Tree is sapphic, and I completely forgot somehow. And she takes up a lot of room. So we're going to have to figure out where to put that book. I was supposed to get it in the mail today. It did not come in, but I did read it digitally, and I got the audiobook. And if you're an audiobook reader, I really suggest the audiobook because there is music, and the little fairy tales in between has the music in them. And I thought that was well done. My favorite arc of the month is going to be Lore by Alexandra, what is her last name? Bracken. It is, if you liked Percy Jackson, you will probably like Lore. Lore is an adult fiction about the Aegis, which I'm probably saying wrong. Essentially every 7 years, the gods have to come down and lose some of their powers, and the hunters hunt them, and whoever kills them then gets to become a god themselves. And there are these families of very different houses and very ancient bloodlines, and they're the ones who are a part of this. And our main character is Melora, also known as Lore, and she is running from something, and it is the hunt, but it's also something else. Her family is all murdered, and while she seeks revenge, she also understands that it's better to stay hidden. And then all of a sudden, a childhood friend who she thought was dead approaches her and asks her for help. So that was intense and really interesting, and if you like Greek myth, if you liked Percy Jackson, you would probably, like, if you liked it as a teen or a kid, you'd probably like Lore. It's a lot more aggressive and brutal, but it is also an adult fiction book, and that's why I liked it so much. My least favorite book of the month is Part of the Family. I don't know who wrote it, give me a second. Part of the Family by Charlotte Philby. I got 25% into this book before I DNF'd it. I thought it was supposed to be some kind of spy thriller book, and it is kind of, but it took over 100 pages to get to the point. The book took too long to explain what it was about. I don't know how to explain that. It was just written so tediously, and and then I read the reviews for it, and most of the reviews are like, how did this even get published? This is completely nonsensical. The plot was too all over the place, which was all comments I already had in the first 100 pages. And so once I saw those reviews, I was like, all right, I'm very valid in yeeting this book into Never Never Land, so I will not be reading that book anymore. So that is my least favorite arc of the month. The second least favorite arc of the month would be Discovering the Inner Mother by Bethany Webster, I believe is her last name, and that is a self-help book. Not much to say about that one. It didn't speak to me personally. It spoke to a very specific type of mother wound. Essentially, the kind of relationship with your mother where your mother calls you her best friend and treats you as such even though you're like 6, you know? I did not have that kind of relationship with my mom, and while my mom and I have our issues, and I did have a mother wound that I had to work through in my own stuff, this self-help book was not directed for the kind of people who have the kind of mother wounds that I have. So I DNF'd it once I recognized that this was a long-running advertisement for her own course on her website, which is frustrating. And also, I've read quite a lot of psychological self-help books, and this one was a little over the head, even for me, who I almost went to college for psychology and studied it in high school, which isn't to say I know a whole lot about it, but I do understand the languaging and how to read documentation and that kind of thing. And this was a little, thinking about it from a reader's perspective and wanting to read it as a self-help perspective, it would not have been beneficial in my opinion. So DNF'd that book as well. I've gotten better about DNF'ing books as we've approached my goal already for the year. Once you've hit, 400 books read, it's a lot easier to go, I'm not interested in this, and I have no goals to meet, and I don't care. So that's really nice that I'm finally at a point where I can comfortably be like, I know I'm no longer interested in this. I know it has nothing to do with my attention span. I'm just genuinely not enjoying this anymore. Once you've read as many books as I have, it's a little bit easier to gauge that about yourself. So I also am in the middle of reading The Project by Courtney Summers, so there is a chance that if later a blog post comes out where I wrap up my October, that this becomes my new favorite. I'm only 10% in, but I'm genuinely enjoying it, like, just tons, but I'm only 10% in. And I was supposed to read a little bit more about it, but I was on the phone with Elle for 3 hours tonight, which is why I'm also filming this video at 8 o'clock at night, and my makeup does not look nearly as pristine as it did when I did it at 9 o'clock this morning. So, I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you enjoyed my wrap-up. If you have any other suggestions for information that you would like when I talk about my wrap-ups, do you want more information about the graphic novels that I read? Do you want me to pick a favorite book out of each genre that I've read? How can I discuss these with you guys enough in a way that's both interesting but not like too much information, because I know that if I talked about every single book that I read in October, this video would be an hour long and nobody has time to watch that, and I don't want to edit that. So let me know in the comments down below if there's any way that you guys would like for me to continue to modify my wrap-ups in a way that makes them more enjoyable for you and something that you'd be more likely to click on. So I'm gonna go. Have a great rest of your day. I hope you guys have a happy Halloween. By the time this posts, Halloween will already have been over, but I hope that it was great, and I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, since you won't see a wrap-up from me until December. Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I will see you guys next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, unless this is a vlog week, and then I'll see you on Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Also, if you have heard a little bit about the readathon, all of the readathon information will be linked down below and can be found on my Twitter. Okay, thanks, bye! Have a great rest of your day.